Good afternoon. So, today we talk about internal scanning. In other words, it is organizational analysis, right? Internal scanning or organizational analysis. If you refer the previous strategic management model. So, last day I talked you how this strategic management process flows, right? So, environmental scanning, after environmental scanning you formulate strategies, then implement strategies and evaluation and control. So, within this strategic management process or strategic management model, you first have to do organizational environmental scanning. So, under environmental scanning, as I said last day, external environment and also internal environment should be looked at. So, in external environmental analysis, we discussed last week, that is you basically do competitive analysis or industry analysis. So, in strategic management, when you look at external environment, you found different elements in the external environment. So, basically in strategic management, while considering other factors as well, we focus on mainly the competitors, and industry analysis is done for analyzing basically competitors and also other elements in the external environment. In the external environment, as you know, you have opportunities and threats. Opportunities are pluses and threats are minuses residing in external environment. So, today we go to the second step of external environmental scanning, that is internal environmental scanning. So, if you see the process, you second do the internal environmental analysis. So, if you closely look at the internal environment, it includes structure. Organizational structure is a part of the internal environment. Organizational structure. So, if you can imagine what organizational structure is, it is a kind of composed of post and hierarchy with chain of command and all these things. That is organizational structure. Organizations have different organizational structures composed of different posts, and it flows from top to bottom. So, if you can remember certain organizational structures, there are organizational structures called matrix organizational structure, project organizational structures. Different shapes are there: taller organizational structure, fatter organizational structure, right? Different organizational structures are there. It is also an element of the internal environment. We will discuss later what organizational structure and how you look at organizational structure under internal environmental analysis. Then you found culture. Culture is a particular element in the internal organizational environment. Culture composed of different things in organization. Basically, it composed of beliefs, expectations, values, and also behaviors of people. So, in the university we have a particular behavior, patterns of behavior. We as university employees have a particular patterns of behaviors. We as university employees, we have particular belief. We believe that we should give the good things to the students. That is our belief. As university teachers, we believe that we should work hard for the knowledge generation. Those are beliefs, and also values. We as university employees, we have certain values. So all these things are included in a corporate organization's culture. In other words, it is called corporate culture. So it is also an element of internal environment, corporate culture. And if you can see, resources are also, it is not implied, it is implied. You all know resources, assets, skills, competencies and knowledge. All are in the internal environment, are regarded as elements in the internal environment. So if you can look at these elements, sometimes these internal elements can be positive for the organizational goal achievement. Positively acting in organizational goal achievement. Some are have negatively behaving for organizational goal achievement. If you have no such particular knowledge is a negative factor, right? You do not have certain particular knowledge. So if you lack of knowledge is a negative factor. So culture, sometimes certain cultures are not healthy for the organization. Certain cultures are not good for the organization. So for example, say university has a particular culture called ragging culture. That element is not good for the organizational goal achievement. It is not good for the health of the university. So certain cultures are not good in particular way, and also some elements are good. Good elements are called strength, and bad elements are called weaknesses. So that is how you basically understand the internal environment and internal environmental factors. So however, we as the first stage in the strategic management process, we do environmental analysis. Second part is internal environmental analysis. So we today do internal environmental analysis. So internal environment, as I explained you, consists of conditions and forces within the organization. The internal environment is analyzed to understand the organization and its strategic factors. So in strategic management, we say these factors are strategic factors. These are not mere elements. In general, when you speaking generally, we say these are the environmental elements, right? But in the strategic management, we call these elements strategic factors. Understood? In strategic management, we call these elements strategic factors. So internal environment is analyzed to understand the organization and its strategic factors. Strategic factors in the internal environment are strengths and weaknesses. Strength refers to resources or any capability. So you have to keep this thing in mind. Basically, strengths are capable in gaining competitive advantages, right? Strengths are capable, can be used in gaining competitive advantages. So in strategic management, we all talk about competitive advantages. Everything we do for gaining competitive advantages. That is a broad purpose of strategic management. So in strategic management, these strengths are for gaining competitive advantages. So strength refers to the resources or any capability of an organization that can be used to gain competitive advantages in the industry. Then weaknesses are limitations or defects. Again, sometimes we call defects are weaknesses. For example, says there will be certain defect in our controlling system. So simply say attendance controlling system, one of our attending controlling system is the attendance register. Very simple controlling mechanism. You have an attendance register to control the absenteeism, right? So, in identifying weaknesses, if there is any defects in this particular system, it is also a weakness. Defects are also weaknesses, right? So, weaknesses are limitations or defects. So, any limitation of a system or any limitation in anything internal thing are weaknesses, or defects in internal environment are weaknesses. So, limitations and defects in an organization that will keep it preventing achieving organizational objectives. So, the quality of the weakness is it prevents achieving organizational objectives. So, if you need to achieve a particular objective, weaknesses acting on it preventing achieving these organizational objectives. That is the main thing in weaknesses. While strengths supporting achieving organizational objectives, weaknesses prevent achieving organizational objectives. So, internal strategic factors. So, I said you the elements in the internal environment are called strategic factors. Elements in the internal environment are called strategic factors. So, internal strategic factors are, this is the definition for internal strategic factors: critical strengths and weaknesses that are likely to determine if the firm will be able to take advantages of opportunities while avoiding threats. So, it gives a good definition. Look at how it happens. Internal strategic factors. So, all internal factors are not internal strategic factors, right? In the internal environment, you found different elements, but all these elements are not strategic factors, right? Look at this definition clearly. Critical strengths and weaknesses that are likely to determine if the firm will be able to take advantages of opportunities while avoiding threats. So, these strengths and weaknesses has some role. Strength and weaknesses has some role. So, these strengths and weaknesses should take the advantages of the opportunities. So, you should be strengthful, you should be stronger to take the advantages of the opportunities, grab the opportunities, right? If your strengths are able to grab the opportunities, we call these strengths are strategic factors. While avoiding threats, your strength should be able to avoid threats. So, strength has two roles: gain the opportunities of the advantages of the opportunities, and also avoid the threat. If, for example, say think of your own body, right? You are strong to avoid certain threats to your body. You are strong to avoid certain threats and take certain advantages of the opportunities. So, then these strengths are called strategic factors. So, you should be strong enough to take the advantages and avoid threats. So, strength have two roles. Understood? Then weaknesses also like this, right? So, weaknesses, you are weakness in grabbing opportunities. So, you are weak in taking opportunities. So, for example, say you can't, you have no certain vocal qualities. You are not so much talkative, sociable. So, will be a weakness, will be a weakness to take some opportunities, will be a weakness to take some job opportunity. These are weaknesses, and also you are weak in avoiding certain threats. So, that is also the role of strength and weaknesses. Strength and weaknesses are critical when they are able to taking opportunities and avoiding threats. Internal strategic factors determine whether the firm is able to take advantages of the opportunities while avoiding threats. So, these strategic factors, as I said, determine whether you are able to take the advantages and avoid the threat, whether you are able to avoid the threat. Internal scanning often referred as organizational analysis. So, there is another term for internal analysis. It is called organizational analysis. It is concerned with the identifying and developing an organization's resources and capabilities. So, these two words are very much important in internal analysis, right. So, basically we look at these resources and competencies under internal scanning or organizational analysis. All these elements are come under skills and resources and competencies. Internal elements can be categorized as resources and competencies. For example, say culture. So, what is a culture? Culture is a particular resource for an organization. So, organizational structure is a resource. So, different the elements in the internal environment can be categorized broadly, resources and competencies. Resources and competencies. So, what are resources? Resources are an organization's asset. Resources are an organization's assets and are thus the basic building blocks of the organization. So, organization composed of resources, in other terms. Everywhere you see resources. If you enter into an organization, you see resources everywhere. So, it is the building blocks. Even the people, that means employees are resources. There are physical resources, there are human resources. So, that are building blocks of organization, building blocks of the organization. So, they include, as I said, they include tangible assets such as plant, equipment, finance and location. Location is also a resource. So, location of your company, location of your firm, and human asset. Again, human resource is a resource. In terms of number of employees, their skills, their motivation, and intangible assets like technology, patents, copyright, culture, reputation. So, all these come under resources, tangible or intangible, right. So, you look at tangible assets like human resources, then intangible parties like culture, reputation, goodwill, patent, copyrights, all are intangible assets as you talk in finance or accountancy. So, capabilities, the other important term in the internal environment, the other important element. Capabilities, I said you basically two resources and capabilities. So, capabilities are different from resources. Capabilities are different from resources. look at, they basically consist of business processes and routings. So, capabilities is the business process you have in your firm. There is a particular process how you run the business. It is your capability. It is your capability. So, it consists of business processes and routings that manage the integration of resources from input to output. So, process is how you convert your inputs into output. So, it is the competencies lies within your business process. Competencies lies within your business process. So, that consists of business processes and routings that manage the integration among resources to input into output. So, for example, say marketing capability. Marketing capability can be based on the interaction among marketing specialists, distribution channel, sales people. So, marketing capability. Your company has a marketing capability. How to convert your marketing elements into the marketing output. So, you have different capabilities within you by way of producing your input into output. Basically, corporation's ability to exploit its resources, that is the capability. So, you have resources. So, an organization only with resources cannot function. An organization only with resources cannot function. So, organization can be able to use these resources in a good way. This ability is called capabilities. This ability is called capabilities. Ability of exploiting the resources, or not, instead of you put exploit, you can put use. Instead of using, ability of using resources, that is the capability. Resources is there. For example, say computer is a resource, but you can't use the resource if you don't have the competency. So, organizations have also competencies. So, competencies are the abilities of exploiting these resources, in other terms, abilities of using these resources. So, organizations' internal strategic factors consist of resources and these abilities. You should have resources and also you should have abilities to use. So, in these two, resources and abilities, the strategic nature is there. The strategic nature is there. Resources should be strategic and capabilities also should be strategic. Resources should be strategic and capabilities also should be strategic. So, capabilities are these abilities. These abilities consist of business process which turn your input into output. A capability is functionally based. The other thing, in organizations, capabilities are residing in organizational functions. So, financial capability, marketing capability, research and development capability, human resource capability, production capability. So, all these abilities are resides in organizational functions, functionally based capabilities. In university, if I say it is not the normal type of manufacturing or service manufacturing organization, if you take university as a service organization, we have certain capabilities. The accountancy department has accountancy knowledge capabilities. So, the management faculty has certain type of capabilities. Science faculty has a certain type of capabilities. Arts faculty certain capabilities. So, functionally based capabilities are functionally based. Capabilities are functionally based. Capability is functionally based and is resident in the particular function, residing in particular function. Thus, there are marketing capabilities, manufacturing capabilities, human resource management capabilities, and so on. So, look at these capabilities and resources. So, you know now resources. Resources are maybe tangible and intangible resources. And then again capabilities, capabilities are the abilities. So, if you look at this diagram, it says how these capabilities and resources, competencies and resources are threshold and unique, are threshold or unique. So, you have threshold resources, you have threshold resources, required resources just to have your organizational functions. But you should have unique resources can be achieve competitive advantages. Unique resources are able to achieve competitive advantages. Threshold resources have no ability of gaining competitive advantages. How do you understand threshold and threshold capabilities and unique capabilities? Unique capabilities have no ability in gaining competitive advantages. They are not competitive. They are just to maintain the day-to-day operations and to maintain in the market. Just to maintain in the market, threshold. But you need, if you want to compete against your competitors, if you want to gain advantages over your competitors, you need unique resources and unique competencies. Right? Threshold are to just maintain your status or situation. So, threshold resources are resources needed to meet customers' minimum requirements. Then it explains just to have minimum level. Threshold resources are to maintain the minimum requirements and therefore to continue to exist. Just to maintain the existence. Just to maintain the existence. But unique resources are important. In strategic management, we look at, you look at the unique resources. Those things are significant. So, unique resources are those resources that critically underpin competitive advantages and they are others cannot easily imitate or obtain. So, that is the important thing. Unique resources cannot be imitated. Unique characteristics cannot be imitated by others. So, the organization should protect these unique resources and unique competencies because they have the ability of gaining competitive advantages. For example, say if this university has a particular unique knowledge, it is the unique characteristic, it is the unique resource, it is the unique resource for the university that can gain competitive advantages over other universities. So, companies or firms should protect unique competencies. They are important in competitive position. So, cannot easily imitate and cannot easily obtain. Others cannot easily obtain these unique resources. So, dynamic capabilities. So, dynamic capabilities are as The word says changing. When these capabilities are constantly being changed, if these capabilities are changing, you say dynamic capabilities. If these capabilities are constantly being changed and reconfigure to make them more adaptive and to an uncertain environment, they are called dynamic capabilities. To your understanding, tell me why dynamic capabilities are important. Why dynamic capabilities are important for an organization? So, virtual students, can you tell me why dynamic capabilities are important for a firm? If you, according to you, what you can say, why dynamic capabilities are important? External environment is also dynamic to survive the competition. Yes, correct. So, dynamic capabilities are important to survive in the environment. The environment is also changing. If your capabilities are stable, if your capabilities are not changing, if your capabilities are stable, your survival is not ensured. Your survival is not ensured. So, correct. External environment is also dynamic, and to survive the competition, you need to change your competencies accordingly. So, dynamic capabilities are reconfigured to make them more adaptive to an uncertain environment. So, to face the environmental uncertainties, you need to make your capabilities change. So, dynamic capabilities are important. Thank you for the correct and prompt reply from the virtual students. Then you found the word competency. Competency. Right. Competency is, again we use when you analyze in the internal environment, competency is also another term. So, competency is a cross-functional integration and coordination of capabilities, right? So, I said you resources are there, tangible and intangible resources are there in your organization, and also you need capabilities to use these resources. The capabilities are abilities of using these, exploiting these resources in strategic management term, right? Competency is cross-functional integration and coordination of these capabilities. So, the computer is here, the capability is also here. There is another computer here, capabilities here. If you these capabilities and resources individually, separately, the organization cannot achieve their objectives. For example, say if the organizational marketing department working with marketing capabilities and marketing resources, then organization's human resource department, research and development department has resources and capabilities, they are functioning with their own resources and capabilities. So, then the organization cannot function well if there is no integration between these departments, these units and these resources and competencies. So, capabilities. Competency is the nature of integration of these capabilities. Competency is integration between capabilities. So, there should be an integration between capabilities to create competency, right? Competency is cross-functional integration and coordination of capabilities. Capabilities should be integrated together to achieve your corporate objectives and competitive advantages. So, competency is ability of integration these capabilities and resources. So, for example, a competency in new product development in one division of corporation may be consequence of integrating management information system, marketing capabilities, production capabilities and everything. So, new product development is a collective task of all these capabilities and resources, right? Integration. Take this thing as the meaning of competency. Integration of all. So, competency. So, for example, say I will be a competent lecturer if I am able to get the connection of all the students even virtually and physically. So, that is my competency. So, capabilities are there. I have delivering capability. So, I have the delivering capability. Resources are there, capabilities are there. Competency is ability of integrating all these together. Integration. That is the competency having with me. Right. So, this term is important. So, core competency is a collection of competencies that crosses divisional boundaries. So, core competencies are linkages. Competencies are linkages. Core competencies are competencies, collection of these competencies that cross the divisional boundaries. For example, say is widely spread within the corporation and is something that the corporation can do exceeding well. Thus, new product development is a core competency if it goes beyond one division. So, core competencies that are, for example, say new product development, it is new product development is a core competency. Why? It integrates most of the several functional departments together. Competency and competency. Understood? Competency generally is saying integrating capabilities together. Integrating capabilities together. If a competency goes beyond different divisions, for example, say take the whole organization together. For example, say the competency in a university researching, if our science faculty do research, then science faculty do research about something, then arts faculty do research about the same thing, how to develop, and management faculty do research how to commercialize the product. The same, regarding the same thing, the whole divisions together, integrated together and for producing one thing. Then the whole collected together as a core competency. Understood? So, for example, say most probably it happens when you are producing a new product. Most often it happens when you are launching a new product. When you are producing a new product, the research and development department do the research activities, finance department pump the finance for the product or the service, then the production department produce the product, marketing department do marketing activities, the whole together it calls core competency. If you do get the support of every department in the organization or in the firm or the corporation, core competencies whole work together. The whole departments, the whole organization should work together to become something, a core competency. So then it is the major competency of the organization. Whole everyone work together and deliver a new thing. Core competency is a collection of competencies that crosses divisional boundaries. No divisional boundaries there. It happens basically in developing new products. For example, say in introducing a new course, we need the support of every department. Curriculum development, writers, approvals from every department, we need the support. So if everyone works together, we say core competency. It becomes a core competency. So evaluating competencies in VRIO metrics. So that is a mechanism to evaluate your competencies. So competencies are collection of capabilities. Competencies are collection of capabilities. So how you evaluate your competencies in your corporation. So you can use this particular framework. VRIO framework. Right. That is, V represent for value. Represent for value. R represent for Rareness. Then imitability and organization. VRIO framework. It is a particular framework for evaluating organizations' competencies. So value is how you look at value of a competency. If the competency is valuable, in other terms, you look at whether this particular competency is valuable. Valuable is, does it provide competitive advantages? Does that particular competency provide competitive advantages? So firstly you look at whether it provides you competitive advantages. If you do not, if the particular competency do not provide competitive advantages, we omit it. We do not consider it as a significant strategic factor. So these competencies should provide you value, should provide you competitive advantages. Then Rareness is, do other competitors possess it? Rare means, do other competitors possess? If they do not possess, it is rare. If the others do not possess this particular competency that is with our company, then it is rare. Only we, our company, only possess this particular competency, right? For example, say in a university, we have a particular professor who is expert in having expertise knowledge no other institution has. So then rare. Then it is a strategic factor. It is a strategic factor for my organization. So because other competitors doesn't possess. Then imitability, imitability is ability to imitate. Inimitability, that is, it is costly for others to imitate. It needs high cost if others to imitate. Others cannot imitate that competency. Others do not possess, others cannot imitate, and is the firm organized to exploit the resources? So, if the organization means the company has all other aspects to use this particular resource, all other things to use this particular resource. For example, say if a particular professor, for example, say a particular excellent professor, excellent in unique field, is in University of Kelaniya. So, if the University of Kelaniya is able to provide enough salaries, if the University of Kelaniya is able to provide good environment for the professor, that is, the firm is organized to exploit the resources. The University of Kelaniya is well organized to use this particular resource. Understood? So, you have to look at value, Rareness, inimitability and organization to understand whether particular resource is good or whether particular resource is strategic or not. Strategic or not, right? If for all these things are good for your company, then particular resource is distinctive. This particular resource is called distinctive competency. Distinctive competency. It is only unique to us. This competency is only unique to us. Understood? So, if all these things are value, Rareness, inimitability and organization is all okay in our company, we say that is the distinctive competency we have. So, that but there we have a good professor, excellent professor that can gain definite advantages, and it is not imitable by others, it is rare. So, then other competitors cannot possess that, and also other competitors cannot even imitate, and also we have enough resources, we have enough setting, we have enough organization to use that resource. So, then that resource is distinctive to us, distinctive competencies. If yes to all questions for the particular competency, it is a strength and thus a distinctive competency and give competitive advantages to gain higher performance. Up to that level you are okay. So, evaluating the importance of resources, capabilities and competencies. So, how you evaluate these capabilities, resources and competencies, how you evaluate the importance? To ascertain whether they are internal strategic factors. I said you, if these things are positive, if these things are strengths, we say they are strategic factors. They are strategic factors. Evaluating whether they are internal factors, that is, particular strengths and weaknesses can determine the future of the company, right? So, then we call they are strategic factors. This can be done by comparing measures of these factors with measures of company's past performance, company's key competitors and from the industry. So, you can compare the capabilities, competencies and resources with your competitors, with your past performance and with your industry. So you can take the industry average and compare your strategic factors, whether your strategic factors are good or not. Evaluate your strategic factors. And also these are the relative measures you can use to evaluate your strategic factors. These are the relative measures. Relative measures. So then sustainability. So it is also important in internal analysis, sustainability. So without sustainability, all your strategic factors are not strategic factors. Even though you have core competencies, even though you have dynamic competencies, capabilities, those things, if they are not sustainable, all are irrelevant. All are irrelevant. So sustainability is also again significant. So these strengths, these strategic factors, in other terms, these resources, capabilities and competencies should be sustainable. So determining sustainability of these distinctive competencies. So sustainability is in terms of durability and in terms of imitability. It is how you determine sustainability. So look, durability. If the competency is durable, if a particular competency is durable, we say it has sustainability, durability. It is the generally we say, for example, say regarding a physical product, we say if something is durable, we say it is sustainable. It rate at which firms' underlying resource and capabilities depreciate or become obsolete. Rate of obsoleting or depreciating. If it has higher life, then we say it is durable. Then imitability is rate at which a firm's underlying resources are and capabilities can be duplicated by others. Then it is called imitability. So if someone can imitate your competency, if someone can duplicate your resources, that resource is not sustainable. Even though you have physically with you, even though that particular resource is physically with you, if it is copied by someone else, it has no sustainability. Because someone else is copied and duplicated, then you are unable to gain competitive advantages by using that particular competency. It doesn't give you competitive advantages. So in terms of competitive advantages, your competency should be sustainable. In terms of gaining competitive advantages, your capabilities, resources and competencies should be sustainable. How to determine the sustainability? Based on the durability and imitability. If someone duplicated, no sustainability, inimitability is not there, imitability is not there, so then there is no sustainability. So sustainability is measured by these two dimensions. So imitability, again taking the imitability is also threefold: transparency, transferability and replicability. So imitability is happening everywhere in strategic management, imitability. So in gaining, if you are strategic enough, your strategies cannot be imitated by others. So it is very significant, imitability. Then if your strategies are imitable, they are not strategies. They are not strategies if your strategies are imitable. So then they are not strategies. They cannot gain competitive advantages if your strategies are imitable. If your competencies are imitable, they can't gain competitive advantages. They are not sustainable. So how you how you measure the imitability based on the transparency, transferability and replicability. That is how you describe imitability. So imitabilities of core competencies determined by transparency. So speed that others can understand the relationship between resources and underlying capabilities supporting the strategy. So transparency is if others can understand what it is, if the competitors can understand what the resource is, what the competence is, what is the relationship behind competencies, resources and all these things. If others can see, if others can understand, if the competitors can understand what it is, then transparency is there. It can be imitated. It can be imitated. It can be duplicated by others if there is transparency. If there is transparency in your core competencies. If your core competencies are transparent, imitability is there. So your competencies cannot be survived, are not survival, has no survival. Then transferability. Transferability, it is again ability of competition to gain similar resources. So then they do not imitate, but they sometimes look at and take similar resources. Ability of gaining similar resources. So transferability, you have particular type of competency or capability or resources, then others can gain the same duplicate thing. Again, that is transferability. That is also leads to imitation, and it leads finally sustainability of your strategy. Then replicability is ability to duplicate. For example, say they can use substitutes for particular product, for particular resource. They can have duplicates, other substitute products. So that is replicability. So if these three things are there, transparency, transferability and replicability, then imitability is high. If the imitability is high, the sustainability is low. So transparency, transferability and replicability determine the imitability. So where these competencies come from? So organizations can accumulate, organizations can collect these competencies from different ways. One is asset endowment. Asset endowment means such as a key patent coming from the founding company. That is key patent coming from the founding company, asset endowment. So, as a patent, you can protect your core competencies as patent, right? As an asset, in other terms, as an asset. You yourself develop your own capabilities. You yourself develop your own capabilities, competencies as an asset. You yourself develop. Acquire from someone else. Sometimes you can acquire these core competencies from someone else. So, for example, you see this in corporate world. Sometimes a brilliant CEO is working, making changes and working in a dynamic way in a particular company. So then you can acquire that particular person for your company, acquiring from someone else. So for example, brought the worldwide distribution system when it purchased Philips division. So you can acquire certain competencies from other companies, acquire. Then shared with another business unit or alliance partner. Sometimes you can share certain competencies. For example, say Toyota shares their knowledge with Chevrolet. Core competencies can be shared by someone else, some other company. So these core competencies can be gained by sharing, knowledge sharing. Sorry. Shared with another business unit or alliance partner. For example, Apple Computer worked with a design firm to create a special appeal for the personal computers and iPods. You can share someone else's core competencies. And finally, carefully build and accumulated over time within the company. Again, you can build from your bottom, at your start, right? So, for example, Honda carefully extended its expertise in small motor manufacturing from motorcycle and auto motors and lawn movers. So, from your start, you can start these core competencies as tiny competencies and develop these core competencies as major competencies throughout your life of your corporation. You can develop these core competencies from the very start point, right? That is carefully building and accumulate over time within the company. That is how you acquire, so how you possess these core competencies, how you possess these core competencies. So then, it is relatively easy to learn and imitate another company's core competencies, right? It is very easier to learn and imitate other companies' core competencies or capabilities if it comes from explicit knowledge. So then these two words are important in looking at core competencies, right? Explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. So if certain core competencies are come from tacit knowledge, imitability or applicability or duplication is easy. Duplication is easy. So what is tacit knowledge? Tacit knowledge is the knowledge that can be easily articulated and communicated. For example, say at the initiation of Microsoft programs, right? So it comes from someone else's tacit knowledge. This tacit knowledge cannot be seen, cannot be imitated. It is accumulated over someone else's experience and internally, tacit knowledge. So, tacit knowledge cannot be imitated. If tacit knowledge is written down, if tacit knowledge is written in books, if tacit knowledge is written in articles, then it becomes a explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge can be easily imitated. Right? So, if someone can protect the competencies as tacit knowledge, then the competitors cannot be imitated. Cannot be imitated. If these competencies, if these capabilities and competencies come from explicit knowledge, then others can easily imitate. Competitors can easily imitate. Understood? If these competencies and if these knowledge, co-competencies, these skills, everything, resources, everything are written, how to use, how to form, develop, everything is written in somewhere, it becomes explicit knowledge and competitors can easily imitate. Right? Tacit knowledge is, in contrast, is knowledge that is not easily communicated because it is deeply rooted in employee experience and organization's culture. Right? So, if you can keep your competencies as tacit knowledge, the competitors cannot imitate and then will be survival, sustainable, will be sustainable. Understood? So, it is relatively easy to learn and imitate another company's core competencies, if it comes from explicit knowledge. So, can you understand what is the role of explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge in core competencies? So, what is the role of tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge in securing your core competencies, in making your core competencies sustainable? So, in making your core competencies sustainable, you have to protect your core competencies. In protecting your core competencies, or in making your core competencies inimitable, tacit knowledge has a big role. So, tacit knowledge in contrast is knowledge that is not easily communicated because it is deeply rooted in employee experience. So, tacit knowledge is more valuable and more likely to lead sustainable competitive advantages. If you can keep something as tacit knowledge, it definitely ensures your sustainable competitive advantages. So, those things are called, in corporate terms, we say business intelligence, business secrets. So, in certain companies do not reveal their recipes. In certain companies they possess their business secrets. They do not expose the certain for example, say formula for particular milk powder. So, they do not expose this, they keep these things as tacit knowledge. So, then only their competitive advantages have sustainable, those are competitive advantages are sustainable, right. So, they can lead sustainable competitive advantages than in the explicit knowledge, because it is much harder competitors to imitate. So, you should keep this thing in mind. So, in securing your sustainability, you have to secure you have to make your competencies durable and inimitable. Durable and inimitable. So, inimitability is secured with tacit knowledge. Sustainability continuum. Sustainability continuum. So, if you look at slow cycle resources have high level of sustainability. Slow cycle resources. Hard to imitate. Slow cycle resources. Hard to imitate and sustainability is high. Then fast cycle resources, ever changing, fast cycle resources, easy to imitate and sustainability is low. Example, strongly shielded patents, brand names, they are slow cycle resources, very slowly change. Brand names, patents do not change over time. They have slow cycle, they are slow cycle resources. Imitability is low and sustainability is high. Then ideas can be easily deprecated, have very fast cycle resources, can be imitated easily and sustainability is low. Then do you need a break, or we will continue when break? Okay. How do you pause this? So, understanding business model. understanding business model is also important in internal scanning, right? So, business model is basically a simple definition for business model is how the company make money. It is the business model way of making money, right? Then, for example, say university is a particular way of making its money, right? It has a particular business model. So, your company has a particular way of business model that shows how you make money, how the company method of making money in the current business environment. That is the simple definition for business model. So, different organizations have different business models. Some have say manufacturing organizations have a particular business model. They produce products and sell these products. Service organizations have different business model. They have services, they sell services. Like this way of making money. So, it includes the key structural and operational characteristics of a firm, how it earns revenue and makes profit, in other terms. How it make profit, how it make revenue. It describes the business model. So, a business model is usually composed of who it serves, what it provides, how it makes money, how it differentiates and sustain competitive advantages, and how it provides its products and service. That is how you can describe a particular corporation's business model. Right? There are different business models, types of business models in the industry, in environment. Customer solution models, profit pyramid models. So, these are technical terms for different types of business models. Multi-component systems, advertising model, switchboard model. So, different types of making money. It describes, for example, say customer solution models. So, if you refer the previous slide, it says who it serves, maybe who are their customers, what it provides, what is the product they provide for the customers, how it makes money, or whether selling, whether distributing, or whether making a exhibition. So, how it makes money, whether attaching a label, different ways they can have a way of making money. How it differentiate and sustain competitive advantages, how it provides its products or service, how it serve its customers. So, when you describe these points, you will have a business model. You can develop a business model in describing these points. So, it says what the business model is. So, customer solution basically provide you customers different types of solutions for customers. Profit pyramids. So, they have different levels of customers. It makes as a pyramid for when earning profits. So, these are different business models. There are other models, again time models, efficiency models, blockbuster models, profit multipliers, entrepreneurial models. Entrepreneurial models are nowadays very much common. So, these are ways of making money for the company. Entrepreneurial models develop new things, new products and taking risks. That is how they make their money. Then, understanding these resources, competencies, business models, you can have some understanding about your internal environment, right? So, 5-step approach of strategy analysis, internal strategy analysis. First one is identifying and classifying resources. So now you know what are the resources you have. What are the resources? Maybe basically tangible and intangible. So combine strength into weakness, into capabilities. You have strength and you can combine these strength into capabilities. Then appraise profit potentials of each capability. So you can understand profit potentials of each of these capabilities, select the strategy, and finally understand the resource gaps in these certain weaknesses. This is the 5-step approach of strategy analysis in identifying strategic factors. Resources, then strength and capabilities, then profit potentials, select the strategy, and then gap about the weakness, resource gap with the weakness. What is the weakness within this particular resource or the strategy? So that is how you understand the strategic factors. This is another way analyzing the internal environments, value chain analysis. This is another most common way of analyzing the internal environmental factors, how you do internal analysis. So organizational analysis is value chain analysis. It is the most common way of analyzing internal environment. Value chain is a linked set of value creating activities. If you, when you see these words, you can imagine what value chain is. It has certain value creating activities. A set of value creating activities, beginning with basic raw material and ending with distributors getting final goods into the hands of the customers. Right? The basic value chain started with raw material and ends with final product to the customers. So some organizations do the whole chain activities themselves, supply their own raw material themselves, producing the product, distributing their product to the customers, and even the after sales services together. Some organizations themselves do the whole value chain activities, right? Some having different value activities performing by different strategic business units, or sometimes some other companies. So this is a typical value chain. If I explain, it starts with raw material, primary manufacturing, fabricating, product producer, distributor, reseller. So this is the typical value chain. So at each value activity, it adds some value to the product. It adds, that is why it is called value chain, value adding activities. So in the value chain, we call, there is a point where center of gravity, right? There is a point called center of gravity. So center of gravity is the point where its greatest expertise and capabilities lie. So if you refer this typical value chain again, so there are the organization, some organizations have their point of gravity, or the center of gravity. Center of gravity in the fabrication role, in the fabrication task, there some are highly excellent. So some companies are excellent in fabrication, some are excellent in distribution. Their center of gravity lies at that point. Their center of gravity lies at that point. So, center of gravity is called the point where its greatest expertise and capabilities lies, that is called its core competency. So, the particular company's core competency lies with fabricating. According to Galbraith, a company's center of gravity is usually the point at which the company started. So, normally a company started at that point where they are excellent. For example, say Cargills. Cargills are excellent in retailing. Even though they are having their own farms, their own supplies, they started at their center of gravity. They started their company at their center of gravity. Understood? Understood what I am saying? Where they are excellent, they started their business at that level, and they as expand in their business, they go up to that other value activities as business expansions. So, center of gravity is the place where most of the companies are expertise and they have started their business at that point. So, this is a corporation's value chain. Based on that typical value chain, this value chain has been formulated based on the typical value chain I showed in the previous slide, right? So, here corporation's value chain, if you can refer each one, infrastructure is there, that is the prime necessary thing a company should be established, right? Infrastructure, then human resources, technology and procurements. So, those are common to every primary activities. Those things are very common to all primary activities. They are called supportive activities. Infrastructure, human resources, technology and procurements are common to every primary activities. So, they are called supportive activities. They are common to everyone. Then you see inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, services. So, they are primary activities for any company. Inbound logistics are called receiving raw material. For example, in a university, that is receiving advanced level students. Receiving advanced level students, it is the primary activity called inbound logistics. It is the raw material for us. So, receiving raw materials, handling and warehousing. Raw material handling and warehousing. So, boarding places, providing them boarding places, student enrollment. So, all these things are enrollment advertisements. So, all these things are inbound logistics for a company, that is raw material handling and warehousing activities. Then operations, any company has these operations, machines, assembling and other testing operations. Then outbound logistics, again distribution. So, that is another task, outbound logistics, distribution, warehousing, distribution of finished products, those things. Then marketing and sales, again you have to have other marketing promotional activities. Any company has these promotions, marketing, pricing, channeling, relations, everything. Then services, there are services, installations, repairs, parts, those things are happening around the year. Services are happening around the year, right? So these are the primary activities any company is engaged with. Any company is engaged with. These are the primary activities and the supporting activities. So at each of these levels it adds values. Then this is the profit margin it shows after top of all these activities, profit margin is there. This is the corporation's value chain. Right? Any company can develop their own value chain according to that. So the value chain activities, as I described, primary activities are there, then supporting activities are there, and most companies gain more profit through supportive activities. So that is another important thing. Most of the companies gain profit more in supporting activities than primary activities. Then value chain analysis, examine each product line's value chain. So you can also draw your value chain for your each product line. For example, for a university we can do a value chain analysis for the postgraduate students. We can do a value chain analysis for the undergraduate students. For example, if you look at your own company has different, if your company has different product lines, you can formulate your own product line for particular product, value chain analysis for particular product lines. So examine each product line's value chain in terms of various activities involved in producing that product or service. Examine the linkages, connections within each product line's value chain. Then you can formulate the connection of value chains of each product lines. You can separate value chain, you can develop separate value chains for each product lines and then have a link. Then examine potential synergies among the value chains of different product lines or business units. Then you can understand the profit synergies of, in other terms, profit of each value chain by combining all together. So this is how you can understand, analyze value chain, analyze the internal factors using value chain. Then scanning functional resources and capabilities. So scanning the functional areas to identify the resources and capabilities. So again you can understand the you can look at each functions in your company. Your company has different functions: marketing, finance, research and development, operations, human resources, information systems. So then you can look at each and every function in your company to identify resources and capabilities again. Overall company, you can scan the overall company. As the internal analysis, you can scan the internal company, overall company, and also you can segregate functions and understand the resources and capabilities within each of the company's function or the branch. So you can look at, there is a marketing branch in your company, there is a research and development branch in your company, finance branch. So then you can understand, you can analyze branch wise to understand the resources and capabilities. So then you are analyzing your internal strategic factors at the micro level. Look at each department separately and look into these departments and identify what are the specific core capabilities and resources lying with these, residing with these each department. That is, scanning goes up to the second level. Scanning goes up to the second level. So, organizational structure, human resource, finance, operations, information systems, each department separately. Then organization structure, I told you organization structure is also a resource or a strategic factor, internal factor. It is also a resource or a strategic factor. So, structures are different. There are different structures, simple structures, functional structures, divisional structures, SBU, conglomerate, different organizational structures. Simple structure is a structure that shows at the top you have CEO, then second level managers, third level managers, like this. That is a simple structure. Then functional structure, in the functional structure at the top you have CEO, then there are functions, functional managers, functional directors, marketing manager, production manager, human resource manager, likewise functional separations. Divisional structure, again it is also similar to function divisions, corporate division, loan division, savings division, likewise different divisions, divisional structures. Then strategic business units, based on the strategic business units. Likewise different organization structures, they are also internal factors. They are also internal factors, internal strategic factors. So, simple structure, owner, worker. Then functional, manufacturing, sales, finance, personnel. Then divisional, product, division A, division B, then manufacturing, finance. So, like this divisional. So, these are organizational structures. SBU is a type of business unit. SBU is a type of business unit. Organization, large organizations have SBUs. Multinational companies, large organizations have SBUs. They are strategic business units, are some independent units attached to a particular business, attached to a particular large organization. Divisions composed of independent product market units that are given primary responsibilities and authority for the management of their own functional areas. SBUs, there are most larger corporations have SBUs. For example, say Haley's. Haley's have their own real estate business and their agro sector, and also they engage in logistics and they engage in some other businesses. For all these businesses, they have formulated strategic business units. They are under the parent company. They all are under the parent company. They are responsible for the parent company, but each SBU is independent. They are working as independent companies. They have own management board, decision making board, governing body, and also they have their own ways of accumulating funds, finance. They have own way of decision making body. So, unique mission, identifiable customers, they have their own market and also controlling functions. They are independent businesses but attached to Haley's. So, they are called strategic business units. They are given primary responsibility and authority for management of their own functional areas. So, the Haley's, the corporate Haley's given the liberty to or the authority to function independently. They are strategic business unit, another organizational structure. So organizational culture is another aspect, another element in the internal environment. That is also come under resource. Culture is a particular resource. Structure is a type of resource. So these are elements. Organizational culture is a collection of beliefs, expectations and values learned and shared by the corporation's members and transmitted from one generation to other generation. Culture is something that cannot be seen. Culture cannot be seen, but it composed of, as I said, it's composed of beliefs, expectations and values. So in a university we have a particular culture, we have beliefs, we have set of beliefs, we have set of values. So in your company there will be a particular set of values, beliefs, what you held as, what you share held, right? So collection of beliefs, expectation and values learned and shared by corporation members, transmitted from one generation to another generation. So this culture is transmitted from one generation to another. From one generation to another, it is something, a strong culture is an core competency for a corporation. Strong culture is a core competency. It is an asset, strategic asset. Corporate culture, different functions are there in corporate culture. It gives you identity, sense of identity for people. We can say we are Kelaniya University students. So it gives you sense of identity. Culture gives you some sense of identity. We are Honda. So people say we are Cargill's. We are Cargill's group. So it gives, that culture gives the employees a sense of identity, generate employee commitment, stability and guide for appropriate behavior. So that is the functions of culture. I said appropriate behavior. Culture says how to behave. In university, in the Kelaniya University, culture says how to behave within the Kelaniya. It says us within our culture. So culture guide the behavior, culture stabilize the organization, culture generate commitment and culture gives you sense of identity. So whatever the thing, it is called culture, it is a core competency. It is an asset, it is an internal element. So marketing, these functions are also internal elements: market position, segmentation, marketing mix, product life cycle, brand, corporate reputation, then financial leverage, capital budgeting, all are come under strategic assets. All are come under strategic assets, internal strategic assets, right? Then human resource development, research and development, technological competencies, technological transfers, R&D intensity, all these things are strategic assets residing in organization's internal environment. So this is what we call S-curve relating to technology. S-curve relating to technology, it says when the product performance goes up, you have to introduce new technology. When the product performance goes up and stop at a certain level, then you have to start a new technology. You start with a new technology, right? It goes up and it starts at a certain level, then you again start with another new technology. Another new technology. Human resource activities are also internal elements, strategic factors, union relations, teams, temporary workers, quality of work life, human diversity, all are strategic factors. However, finally, you do internal analysis as external analysis. Finally, if you can remember the last week final PowerPoint, it finally quantify the weaknesses and strength. As previous lesson, we quantify the opportunities and threats. So, however, do analysis using even value chain and anything, you do analysis and you can quantify, you can understand your strength and weaknesses in terms of resources, capabilities, competencies, business model, culture or structure or any form, and you understand these things as strength and weaknesses in terms of how they support you to your making profit or avoid you making profit, strength and weaknesses, and quantify these things using the weights and ratings, and finally you can have a final figure representing your internal strength. Right? For example, one of her strength, quality, Maytag culture. Maytag is the company's name, right? The name of the company is Maytag. So, culture is a strength for that particular company. Then, experience, top management is a competency. It is also as a strength. Vertical integration is the how they have developed their value chain, vertical integration. Then employee relations, human resource management activity, employee relation. Then Hoover's international orientation, business model. They have sometimes they have merged with the Hoover. The business model they have developed, it is also working as a strength. Then weaknesses, process-oriented research and development. That is their research and development process. Process-oriented research and development. Then distribution channels, financial position and global positioning, they are weaknesses. So then based on these strengths and weaknesses, you give them weight and rates and finally get the final figure for their internal strength, internal strategic position, right? Internal factor analysis summary table. It is called internal factor analysis summary table. So, this is how you do an internal analysis. Basically, I want to say you understand what the resources are, what are the capabilities, competencies and structure, culture and other functions, and give them a weight. Give them a whether to first they identify whether they are weaknesses or strengths. Sometimes our organization's culture will be a strength, sometimes will be a weakness, right? So understand whether they are weaknesses or strength and give them rating and quantify, and finally get the internal factor analysis summary, and the value you receive is total score, and that is the value for the internal strategic position, right?